Well, guess this is my first Tanktastic video of the new year of 2022, and it's a hell of a time to be alive. After some minimal updates here and there, along with the controversial yet secretive low-level buff changes, Tanktastic has come out of its hibernation yet again, but this time it has a game changer. Update 2.9 will introduce a host of changes, nerfs, and buffs. Dreaded vehicles of every level, such as the Type 59, the Type 82, and of course the Leclerc, will be a long-forgotten memory. Now before we get to the highlights of 2.9, we will cover the circumstances of this update. Before Tanktastic 2.9, we were all in the belief that Tanktastic would never have major changes that would involve changes to the stats. This was a result of Update 2.0, which, even I have to admit, was a substantial failure, which I don't know what happened, but led to the board development team falling out and ex-developers taking the code for stat changes and adding new vehicles with them. Or so I'm told. So Romeo and whatever dev that is left can't change those now. That is until January of this year, where Dennis TW joined the development team, and the devs somehow regained access to the stats and new vehicles. Hell yeah!
Update 2.9
will focus on rebalancing its roster of vehicles. But you're probably asking, but Brad, it's been a million years now! Why isn't there no new vehicles to revitalize the game? You see, we have to rebalance vehicles first as foundation to then start adding vehicles on top of the game. In the current state of the game, adding something like the Challenger 2 tests would either break the game or break the tank in comparison to its competitors. So sadly, no Challenger 2 tests, Leo 2A7 Plus, or T15 this update. Alright, now we'll get to the highlight changes of this update. Note, what I cover in this update might be susceptible to change afterwards, and isn't guaranteed to be accurate of what it will look like, but it should give a basic understanding of what might happen to the vehicle in 2.9. Starting off, we cover the starter vehicle of the NATO region, the T92. Now this vehicle will be a paradigm of how tanks will be rebalanced in this update. Vehicles will be balanced based on real-life details of the real vehicle, but also when they appeared in history. If they're a prototype, how long they were in service, and when they were deactivated. In the T92's case, it was a prototype light tank meant to replace the M41, but the Sheridan was chosen over it. Originally, the T92 in Tanktastic would go up to level 30 range, but now following this update's mantra, will be reduced to maximum level of 18. Although note, these changes aren't final and liable to change at some point in the future, as stated before. The T92 will now get a clip magazine of 8 rounds, unlike its current situation where it just spits out rounds infinitely. Max damage will now only be 60 for level 18. Dennis said that there might be plans to switch the T92 in the Bulldog's places, but that ain't coming in 2.9 unfortunately, because it's mainly just a rebalance update. Next, we have the Type 59, probably the most despised vehicle, more hated than the Leclerc due to its near invulnerability to every tank it faces in low level to under level 30. Paired with its superb survivability was its pinpoint accurate high damage gun, which was available even at low level. This tank is heavily abused by players using the low level buff system, where players with lower ranks can deal more damage and have more survivability and more armor, which only exacerbates the Type 59's issues further. Also note, the low level buff system meant to help new players is mainly abused by veteran players, making new accounts, and low-level buffs isn't being removed from the game in 2.9, unfortunately, for you people complaining about it, which is me. Even officially, low-level buffs are a hush-hush topic for some reason, since the devs never announced its existence. Moving back onto topic, now this tank
in 2.9 will also serve as an example of another balancing concept in 2.9. That is a system of upgrades to be followed in specific order. Now you must upgrade things like chassis, engine, and etc. before you touch anything related to the gun or armor. Now in the Type 59's case, this might seem worrying, but only accuracy will be nerfed to that of the T-54. Before you get your torches and pitchforks, as I said, Type 59 will follow an order of upgrades. Maximum damage, accuracy, and reload can only be achieved upon level 37 and 38 now. I'm actually not sure what happens to the armor, but I'm presuming they'll find a way to prevent you from getting it early. Next, we will move on to the Type 60. Okay, I know it isn't a significant vehicle. It's one of my favorites. Like, 1.22, I've been slaying stuff. But, unfortunately, once 2.0 hit, it sucks. Like, it really does suck. Like, the gun is locked into place, as in there's no horizontal traverse. The damage sucks now, and the controls are very slippery. I mean, that was an issue in 1.22, but that was masked by the high damage of it. Now, this final issue was also in the 1.22 version, and it's that the Type 60, once you tap the fire button once, it will shoot off both rounds at the same time. So you can't control what happens in the second round. In 2.9, the Type 60 will be more flexible now, with a horizontal gun traverse, finally, instead of the gun being fixed forward all the time. Also, it will be complemented with a heat projectile. It's going to become a mini Ontos. But AP is going to be removed, so good luck fighting Object 279s. Then, the Type 60 will receive a change in the firing pattern. Now, players can control when to shoot the second round, instead of the round automatically firing by itself. Also, tiny footnote, Type 60 and the Ontos, both being recoilless rifles, of course, shouldn't have recoil. So, the vehicle won't jerk back now, whenever it shoots. Although, damage was lowered to 71, but accuracy has generally improved. An increase of rate of fire to 1.6, but inter-round reload is 2.8 now. Those are the other changes. Hopefully, the Type 60 will become a great vehicle, as it was in 1.22. Probably not, but it will still be usable now, at least. Right next, we have another not-so-significant vehicle, but just interesting. The AMX-13F3, which is currently some sort of shotgun artillery thingy, will now become a true artillery vehicle, like the M44. So, my shotgun artillery vehicle will unfortunately become outdated. Nothing else to say. Moving on, we have a sort of meta vehicle, but it also isn't used very much. The FV-101 Scorpion, which is well known for its British accuracy, will unfortunately have to face reality. Since it mounts a 76mm short cigarette butt without stabilization, it would not make sense for it to be more accurate than most modern MBTs, so accuracy will be nerfed. To compensate for this, reload time will be increased to 3.4 seconds. As well, you are required to follow an order of upgrades. Speaking of fast reloading speeds, the STRV-103 will receive a magazine type of autoloader, 5 shots, with a 1.1 second reload per round, but a 6-second reload every magazine once spent. A similar system will be introduced to other Swedish tanks. Alright. Now, we move on to more meat, the important stuff. Next, we will cover artillery as a whole in Tanktastic. Self-propelled guns will become more accurate, while rocket artillery becomes less accurate, having a larger reticle deterring enemies from a specific area. Now, for some reason, the Soviet artillery line, mainly the self-propelled gun line, is receiving a lot of love lately, and that's because they're getting heat. Like literally, they're lobbing heat. Vehicles like the Nona will receive heat, or in some cases, AP as well. Another general class change is for IVs and anti-air, receiving pinpoint accuracy as well as a damage increase. Also, IVs that have a split missile launcher system can dual-fire both ATMs in quick succession, such as the Terminator. We're nearly done! Now we proceed on to the Type 82, a North Korean tank that may or may not exist. Literally, no photos of it exist. Now, in its current state, the gun is devastating, doing around 500 damage. But devs have taken into consideration that it uses the same gun, or similar to the one found on the PT-76. Now, the damage has greatly been reduced to 268, and armor has dropped to 12. Also, health has been boosted up to 649 to make up for these shortcomings. Type 82, one of the most spammed vehicles in mid-level, will now be an average premium, I guess. Now, finally, the one vehicle that everyone anticipates being nerfed, the BRM.
What the? Man, that makes me angry, man.
Sorry, I just think I'm too stupid to understand that.
Just kidding, the Leclerc. Now, you must follow a specific upgrade order before maxing out the gun. But also, fire rate has been reduced to 2.5, and damage nerfed to 578. So now, this rapid firing Frenchie won't be as effective as previously. Now, how major will these changes be for this vehicle? Well, we'll see in 2.9. This update, although no new content, will mix up the meta a bit and even the playing field. Although these vehicles and gameplay changes will shake up the game, there is more rebalances as well as other changes I haven't covered. And heck, during the time I was making this video, there's a couple tanks left to rebalance. Like the Object 490A, which at the time of making this video, there's a poll showing several configurations of what the stats might look like in 2.9. Also, I haven't mentioned this, but stats might reset for vehicles that haven't been fully upgraded. So, yeah, just putting that out there. So for now, you all better start saving enough cash and maybe hold off on buying vehicles and upgrades, as 2.9 will be coming, and a whole lot of tanks will change. For the better, or even the worst. This is cringe and repetitive, but please like and subscribe to the channel, so that the channel can grow. Anything helps.